You started at 22, not rich, not even close. You had a job that paid $34,000 a year and a roommate named Derek who made fun of everything you did. Derek drove a leased Charger, black on black, payments he never mentioned out loud. Derek bought $200 shoes he wore twice and forgot about. Derek called you grandpa the day you set up an automatic transfer for $50 a week into an index fund. $50. Every Friday, rain or shine. You didn't tell him why. You didn't tell anyone why. It wasn't a strategy yet. It was just a number that felt small enough not to hurt and big enough to matter in 10 years, if you were patient enough to let it. Derek laughed the hardest the week you skipped a night out to avoid touching it. It's $50, man. Live a little. You said nothing. You hit confirm on the transfer and closed the app. You went to bed early. You didn't feel superior. You just felt quiet. Rewind further. You grew up watching your dad stress over rent every first of the month. The same folder on the counter, the same tight jaw, the same phone calls in the other room where he thought you couldn't hear him negotiating with someone. You promised yourself something different. Quietly. At 19, nobody heard that promise. You never told anyone, not even the people closest to you. You just started acting on it 3 years later. The first week you had a paycheck of your own to control. Year 1, $2,600 saved. Derek's shoe collection alone cost more than that, sitting in boxes he barely opened twice. You ate at home on Fridays. He called it sad. You called it Tuesday. You weren't trying to prove anything. You just didn't want to explain yourself, so you stopped trying to. Year 2, the market dipped 18%. Derek saw the number on your screen over your shoulder and said, "See? Told you investing is gambling." You didn't sell. You bought more. The same Friday transfer. Unchanged. Unbothered. You didn't say anything about it. You just kept transferring. Kept your mouth shut. Kept your face flat. Year 3, you stopped checking the account daily. You checked it monthly instead, then quarterly. The checking stopped mattering. The habit did the work without you watching it. The way a plant grows without you standing over it, demanding proof. By year 5, Derek was on his 3rd car and his first credit card balance he couldn't fully explain out loud, not even to himself. You were still in the same 1-bedroom, still splitting rent down the middle, still driving the same Civic with the same crack in the windshield you never got around to fixing. Nothing about your life looked different from the outside. That was the point. That was always the point. Nobody suspicious of a man who looks exactly the same as he did 5 years ago. Year 6, you got a small raise at work. Nothing dramatic. You didn't upgrade anything. You increased the transfer to $65 a week instead and told no one. Derek saw the new number pop up in the shared banking app you used for bills and didn't say anything that time. He just looked at it a second too long. Year 7, Derek got engaged to a woman named Sarah who worked in marketing and drove a car nicer than his. He needed money for the ring, some help closing the gap between what he had and what he wanted people to see. You said no gently. You didn't have no money. You had money that wasn't his to touch, money that had a name, a purpose, a decade of Fridays behind it that you weren't going to unwind for a diamond he'd be paying off for years. Year 8, you passed a number you never said out loud to anyone. Not to Derek, not to your parents, not to a single soul. You just sat with it one night, alone at the kitchen table, and felt something settle in your chest. It wasn't excitement. It was quieter than that. It felt like relief, the kind that doesn't announce itself. Year 9, the engagement ended. Sarah left, took the nicer car energy with her, left Derek with a lease he couldn't afford alone and a studio he had to give up. He didn't tell you why at first. He just asked if he could crash on your couch for like a month tops. You said yes. You didn't hesitate. You didn't bring up the diamond or the shoes or the 10 years of jokes. You just said yes and made space. That night, he saw your laptop open on the kitchen table while you got water. A number on the screen, not 7 figures, not yet, but a number that made his mouth go quiet for the first time in 10 years of knowing him. A silence you'd never once heard from her. That's from the 50 a week? You didn't answer right away. You just closed the laptop and sat back down. He asked again, softer this time, not mocking, just tired, in a way that had nothing to do with sleep. How long you been doing this? Since we moved in together? He looked at the couch he was about to sleep on. He looked at you. He didn't say anything else that night. He just sat down slowly, like the couch had gotten heavier in the last 30 seconds, like gravity itself had shifted in the room. The next morning, he asked how it works. Not sarcastic, not looking for an angle. Genuine. You showed him the account, the same brokerage app from year 1, still ugly, still unchanged. You showed him the $50 line? Repeating, unbroken, for 10 years straight, through breakups and dips and every joke he ever made. He didn't say much. He just kept scrolling up, watching the same small number happen again and again and again, quietly, patiently, the whole time he wasn't looking. Derek is still on your couch 3 weeks later. Derek still calls you grandpa sometimes, but he says it different now, quieter, like he's asking a question underneath it, one he isn't ready to say out loud yet, one he might never fully say. You don't say I told you so. You don't need to. The account already said it for you every single Friday for 10 years while nobody was watching, while nobody believed it would ever add up to anything at all.
You just keep transferring $50 a week, the same as you did at 22, back when it was the easiest thing in the world to laugh at.